Yes. You just click reply and you just write five.
Hi, Emma. We got one. Yep. Yeah. All right. Yesterday. Now, let me take roll real quick. Ethan.
Here.
Mackenzie. Lexi. Becca. Grace.
Here.
Ella. Claire's back. Abby.
Here.
Home. Is that right? Jade's back. Brianna. Restroom. Grace.
Here.
I saw her. Okay, yes. And Anna.
Here.
Got it. All right. So I hope you watched the video from yesterday. Okay, this is how it's going to work, right? So today you're in person. We pick up where I left off on that video. Okay, and we were doing the war days. Yes. Pull that back up over here. Okay, got 3 screens. Come on now. All right, so we got through the Gulf War, and to the Gulf War, and I was telling you guys that, remember, I watched this live on CNN, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so this is the point where the United States really becomes an enemy of a group called Al Qaeda. Yeah, there we go, right there. Okay, so a lot of people are not real familiar with the map of the Middle East, okay? So let me help familiarize yourself with this, okay? And some events that are going to take place. Okay, you got North Africa over here. That's Egypt and then North Africa, all right? This is the Middle East, okay? Now, you see all these stands, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan. Okay, just follow me, come on over here. I'm not wearing it. What do I do with it? Oh, it's over here. You gotta wear the thing. Sorry about that, Emma. Okay. See all this red up here? That's the Soviet Union. In 1990, it broke apart. Communism failed in Russia. Okay? It was a great day. It was awesome. Okay? So when you look at this map, all these stands used to be part of the Soviet Union. Okay? So you got to understand that after World War II, it was us and the Soviet Union. It was 2 superpowers. So it kind of became communism versus capitalism in the free society. Okay, and the Russians wanted to spread. In 1979, the Soviet Union, which was down here, yes, okay? Invaded Afghanistan in 1979, okay? This was a big deal, okay? Now, remember, I know you don't know a lot about this, but in Vietnam, in Korea, when we went to fight there to contain communism, guess who helped the North Vietnamese and the North Koreans? The Russians did. They gave them weapons, they gave them aircraft, they gave them tanks, they gave them artillery to kill Americans. It was a proxy war between two superpowers. They were using the North Vietnamese and Koreans to kill Americans. Well, guess what we thought when they invaded Afghanistan? We said, we're going to help the Afghans against the Soviet Union. So we started arming them. Rocket-fired missiles from the shoulder, okay? We gave them guns. We gave them bombs, artillery, okay? And they're shooting down Soviet helicopters, 1979. The Russians stayed there for 10 years. And they didn't win. We went there in 2001. We're on year 19. And we still haven't won. You've got to learn from history. The Russians bordered Afghanistan, and they still couldn't subdue the country. We're on the other side of the planet. How are we going to subdue Afghanistan? Well, we're not. Okay. In fact, President Trump is about to make another announcement of troop withdrawals from Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay. Now, if we leave Afghanistan right now, the group that took it over, called the Taliban, may come back in and kill all the people that were fighting with us, trying to save their country. That group will come back in from Pakistan and try and take back over. And this group called the Taliban, they're like old school Muslims. Old school. Like, women don't leave the house without a man. Women don't learn how to read. There's no sports, there's no soccer, there's no nothing. The stadiums are used for beheadings of people that break Islamic law. It's a Middle Ages type system. Okay? If we leave, that could happen. Just like when we left Vietnam, the communists took over and targeted all those people that were on the American side. Okay? So that's a fear that we have about leaving Afghanistan, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't left in 19 years. Also in 1979, guys, the capital of Iran is called Tehran. I'm not sure about stuff. Okay. In 1979, Iran was a friend of the United States. Okay? But there was a revolution called the Islamic Revolution. They stormed the U.S. embassy. We had Americans in the embassy in Tehran. They broke through the walls, took it over, and took more than 50 Americans hostage. These are not Marines. These are civilians working in the embassy. They handcuffed it, blindfolded them, put them in front of the cameras for the world to see. What did we do? Nothing. We froze their assets in this country. Okay. See, their leader was a guy named the Shah of Iran. The Islamists didn't like him, so they put in charge the Ayatollah, which is a religious leader. So the only real theocracy in the world today besides Rome is Iran. It's ruled by religious leaders. Okay? They are an enemy of the United States. Now, Jimmy Carter was president when this happened in 1979. Both of these events are happening under Jimmy Carter's watch. He tried one time to send in Delta Force, special forces, to rescue the hostages. The helicopters got caught in a dust storm, a haboob, and crashed. It was a failed mission. The day Ronald Reagan took office, January 20th, 1981, Iran released the hostages because they knew Reagan would do something, like go to war to get those people back. Okay? That's the beginning. Okay? Now, let me pull up some stuff. I'm going to put some pictures with, oh, there you are. Come on, let me grab you. Let me grab you. Okay. So, this is the one. Okay. All right. So, this is our embassy in Iran. Okay. Right here. Okay. Storming. This is some of the American hostages right here. This was the Shah that was our friend who got cancer, came to the United States for treatment, and it was while he was in the United States that they stormed the embassy. And this became the leader of Iran, an Islamic State. Okay? 8 Americans killed in the Iran raid. The rescue fails. Okay? So, we become an enemy of Iran. Now, guys, Iran is Persia. Remember studying about the Persians? Okay, they're Persians. They were friends of ours. In the 1970s, guys, Iranian women went to university. They had shopping malls. Women wore blue jeans and lipstick in Iran. Today, women don't dress like that. They're covered. And they live under a strict Islamic law. Okay? And it's been like that since 1979. They hate the United States. They call us the great Satan. They call Israel the little Satan. Down with America. They burn our flags. Now, the people in Iran are kind of fed up living like this. Okay, so there are times when they want to revolt, but we can't really get involved because they can use us against those that are opposing the government. You know what I mean? If we're helping them. Now, we can help them secretly, you know, give them communication tools and so forth to overthrow their government. Okay, but we can't meddle too much. We need to support that movement of freedom in Iran. Okay, because they are the biggest threat in the Middle East. Now, when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan, this is the group of people we helped in 1979 through 89, called the Mujahideen. Okay? These are freedom fighters. They came from all over the Middle East to fight in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union, and we gave them weapons. You follow me? And they held off the Soviet Union, a superpower, for 10 years. Among the leaders of the Mujahideen, there were different camps of the Mujahideen, was this guy. Everybody recognize his face? Okay, Osama bin Laden. He had the camp in Afghanistan, English translation, or to Farsi, would be Al-Qaeda. Okay, that's what Al-Qaeda means, the camp. Now, bin Laden would have you believe that he was this great mujahideen hero against the Soviets. In reality, he wasn't. He was just a small player in a much larger movement. Okay? But he was very wealthy. See, bin Laden was born in Saudi Arabia. Okay? The kingdom. So it's a monarchy. There's a king of Saudi Arabia. You follow me? A royal family. This is bin Laden's father, Mohammed bin Laden. This was a good man. In the 1920s, they discovered oil in Saudi Arabia, under the sand. A lot of oil. And the Saudi government invited the United States, Texaco Oil, Standard Oil, to come over to help them develop the Saudi oil fields. Bin Laden, the father, built all the roads and bridges to make that possible. And he worked very close with the Americans. He was a good guy. Now, he had 12 wives, and he was a billionaire. One of his sons was this one. And when his daddy died, he inherited a lot of money, and Osama became very radicalized. Okay? So this is where we move to the Gulf War, 1990. Okay? I'm going to use the other map. This is the dictator of Iraq, which is next door to Iran. Okay? This is a military dictator, Saddam Hussein, or as George W. Herbert Walker Bush used to call him, Saddam Hussein, just to piss him off. Okay? So Saddam Hussein is a military dictator. He's not a religious guy. You follow me? He's controlling his people through force. Now, in 1990, he had the fifth largest army in the world. Saddam did here in Iraq. Here's Iran. This little country down here is called Kuwait. It's on the Persian Gulf. And guys, Kuwait has massive amounts of oil. It's one of the wealthiest countries in the world. They have a very small population, and they share that wealth with their people. They're very rich. Okay? In 1990, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. Now, guys, this is before we had things like fracking, and we were independent when it came to oil. You guys, we can produce enough oil in this country today that we don't need oil from them anymore, which is huge. But in 1990, there was a limited amount of oil in the world. And I don't know how you guys got to school today in the rain, but you used oil and gas to get here. And I don't know if you turned on the heat last night at your house. I did. I used gas to do that. Natural gas. Okay, so oil's a big deal. So President Bush, this is the first one, 41, Herbert Walker Bush. W is the second one, the son, you guys. Okay? He said, we will not stand for this aggression. What Bush does is he puts together a whole coalition of countries in the Middle East. Okay? He puts together Syria, Jordan, Egypt, the Americans, the British, and we're all going to go in and stop Hussein from Kuwait. Get him out of Kuwait. He went to the United Nations. The international organization said we need to stop this because the real fear was, guys, that if nobody stood up to Saddam here in Kuwait, guess what his next move is? Saudi Arabia. And if he got Saudi Arabia, this one military dictator would control about a third of the world's oil. We weren't going to let that happen. Okay? Now, I know Mr. Swords taught you guys there's Shia Muslims and there's Sunni Muslims. It's like Catholics and Protestants. We're both Christians, but we have different views. Yes? So Iran is majority Shia. Okay? The rest of the Middle East is majority Sunni. Remember ISIS? ISIS, the Islamic State, the Iraq's here? Sunni. Okay, so when we wanted to take down ISIS, we said, hey, some of you other Sunnis need to help. Because these people are crazy. ISIS, they're nuts, man. They're worse than Al Qaeda. That's hard to do. Okay? ISIS is a scourge, man. These people are sick. The stuff they do. Okay, so you got Sunnis, you got Shia. Okay? Now there are Shias that live in Iraq too. Okay? These two had a war in the 1980s. Remember 79? Iran became our enemy, the hostages, right? So we helped Saddam Hussein against Iran. This was an ugly war. Iraq, under Saddam Hussein, they used poisonous gas against Iran. Where did Iraq get poisonous gas to use against Iran? Here's a dirty little secret. They got it from us. So we're helping this guy. Now we're about to go to war with him about 7 years later. Yeah. That was George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush number 41. The other Bush is Bush 43. You had a Clinton in between. Okay. Father, son. Not close. All right. So back to 1990 with the invasion of Kuwait. Okay. This is what the world is going to war over. All right. Now, Saudi Arabia was a really good staging area for American forces here to drive Saddam out. Yes? Okay. Y'all heard of Mecca? You know that Muslims, sometime in their lifetime, if possible, are supposed to make a pilgrimage to Mecca. Yes? This is holy ground. By 1990, guys, women in the military is a normal thing. Women flying helicopters. I don't know if we're there yet, but they're there. These are women wearing military uniforms with long hair and makeup. They want on holy ground. So when this happened, when this invasion happened, and the United States was ready to get involved, Osama bin Laden, who is a Saudi, got kicked out of the Saudi Arabia because he was too radical. They kicked him out with all his money. Okay. Then he went to the Sudan, and they said, this guy's crazy. And in the mid-90s, they offered him up to President Clinton. They said, we got this guy bin Laden, and he's in our country, and we don't want him here. You want him? And Bill Clinton said, well, we don't have any crimes to charge him with because 9/11 hadn't happened yet. And so he left the Sudan, went to Yemen. They kicked him out, and guess where he went? He went back to Afghanistan, where he had fought against the Russians. And the Taliban that was now ruling Afghanistan, those crazy people from the Middle Ages, they let him come there. And he started building a terrorist camp and training soldiers. And he told the Saudi Arabian government, don't let the Americans come. We defeated the Soviet Union. We can defeat Saddam Hussein. Let us, the Mujahideen are Muslims from all over the Middle East that come to fight. So when we went to Iraq in 2003, one of our last wars, guess what? People from all over the Middle East came to kill Americans. Like the Mujahideen did in Afghanistan in the 1980s. Okay, so bin Laden says to the royal family, says, let us do it. Don't bring the Americans here. If you're the Saudi government, who do you think's got a better chance of winning? The U.S. military with a huge multinational force from all over the world, or the Mujahideen in the camp, Al Qaeda? If I'm a betting man, I'm going with the United States. And so does the Saudi government. It is when American boots start landing on this soil that we become the enemy of Osama bin Laden and his group known as Al-Qaeda. And they start plotting attacks against the United States, wherever we are. And guys, we are a worldwide presence. We have military bases all over the world. And wherever those Americans are, they tried to start killing us. Al-Qaeda did. And that eventually, throughout the 1990s, I've got a list of terrorist attacks I can show you. Okay? And that all culminates with 9/11, which is 2 days from now, right? It all culminates with those buildings being, or those planes being hijacked and flown into those buildings. Okay, and then he becomes, the #1 wanted man in the world. You can't find him. We think he's in the mountains of Tora Bora in the caves. So we go looking. We go to Afghanistan in 2001. We're still there. Eventually, we find him hiding out in Pakistan. Send in SEAL Team 6 and take him out. Okay? That's how we got to 9/11. Okay? Let me pull up one more thing here for you. Somebody tell me time, how much time I've got here. This is pretty interesting. Now, I'm going to drop some movies on you here. Anybody see the movie Argo? Argo. Okay. How many of you guys ever seen the movie Black Hawk Down? How many see the movie Zero Dark 30? Okay. Flight 93? How do I give you an assignment? Argo's not a war movie. Argo's about the embassy in Iran. Okay, true story. There were 6 Americans that escaped the embassy before it was taken over. They're in the middle of Iran, in their capital. There's crowds pouring in. They escape. They go to the Canadian ambassador's house, because Canada has an embassy there too, and they hide. Okay, the Canadian ambassador's risking his life. Okay, his wife is there. The CIA finds out. Okay, so they're going to try and rescue these 6 that are hiding at the Canadian embassy. So they're trying to come up with a plan how to get these 6 people out. It's a great movie. Okay, Ben Affleck plays the CIA agent, and they pretend to be like a Hollywood movie production, and they want to shoot a film in the Middle East. And so he goes over there. It's a CIA agent. They come up with this whole fake movie called Argo. Okay, top secret. And they have a director, a producer. These are all CIA people. And they get into the country, and they get these 6. Actually, they pose the 6 people that are hostages, or not hostages, that have escaped as movie producers and so forth. So they give them that identity when he shows up and gets in the country. Because they don't know who these people are, because they destroyed all the records before they took over the embassy. They shredded all the documents. So they didn't know the people were missing. And they get them out. Now, the U.S. government kept this secret for the next 20 years, and we gave all the credit to the Canadians for getting the Americans out. And then they came out with the book and the movie, and it was no longer top secret. It was the CIA that did it. The Canadians were seen as heroes, helping the Americans. Argo, great movie, okay? Now, okay, this starts with 2001, so I'm going to go back. Okay, these are terrorist attacks against the Americans. Not all of these are by Muslims. Most of them are, okay? Now, Beirut is in Lebanon, okay? You guys have, I don't know if you have any classmates right now that are Lebanese Christians. You guys all know Mrs. Dugan. Okay, her name is Stephen. The Stevens are from Lebanon. They're Lebanese Christians, okay? And in the 1980s, there was a civil war there. Yeah, you could talk to their parents and grandparents about that civil war between Muslims and Christians in Lebanon. They're still going on today. There's problems there, okay? So a suicide car bomb. We sent troops. Reagan sent troops to try and keep the peace. And we had a big barracks where the Americans were based, the Marines, okay? Blew the side of the building up, killed 63, 17 Americans. Oh, no, this is the one. Yeah, in October. Okay, so there was one here and then another one, 241 Marines. You know what we did? We left. Okay? Kill Americans, we're going to leave. Okay? This is Bogota, Colombia. This deals with like cocaine and stuff, drug traffickers. Bomb explodes in a restaurant near the U.S. Air Base in Madrid, Spain, killing 18 Spaniards, all Spaniards. 15 Americans were wounded. Okay? These are targets against the U.S. military. Another El Salvador that's dealing with drugs. TWA, airliner hijacked over the Mediterranean, started a 2-week hostage ordeal. The last 39 passengers eventually released in Damascus, which is in Syria, after being held in various locations in Beirut. So hijacking. Usually the hijackers wanted something. They wanted some people let out of jail, okay, or a prisoner exchange. They wanted something in exchange for the plane and the hostages. So pilots and crews were taught to just obey the hijackers. Do what you're told. Get the plane on the ground, and then we'll deal with it. So on 9/11, guys, when you hear hijacking, you're thinking this is why there's a hijack. Not that they're going to fly the planes in the building. You understand that's never been done before like this. Well, the Japanese did it in World War II. They were called kamikaze pilots. Okay? Palestinian terrorists hijacked cruise line. Kili Lara. In response to Israeli attack on PLO, Leon Klinghoffer, wheelchair-bound American, is killed and thrown overboard. Hijackers, Egypt Air Flight, killed 1 American. (1985) Simultaneous, here we go, suicide attacks carried against U.S. and Israeli check-in desks at the Rome and Vienna international airports. 20 people are killed in 2 attacks, including 4 terrorists. In response, the United States retaliates, launch aircraft. Okay. Oh, that's this. Bomb. This is a discotheque in Berlin where there's an American military base. 1 American, 1 German, 150 injured, 44 Americans targeted. 1986, explosion damages TWA flight as it prepares to land in Athens, Greece. 4 people are killed when they are sucked out of the aircraft. 1988, bomb destroys. Now this one I remember. Bomb destroys Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. All 259 people aboard. The Boeing 747 are killed, including 189 Americans. People on the ground died too. So it's horrible. So they found the explosives. And they traced him back to Libya, to a guy named Muammar Gaddafi. Do I not have Gaddafi on here? I know. Okay. From Libya. Okay. Now I got to come back to that. I got another day of this, okay, guys? So I'll be coming back to Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. Reagan goes on national TV, sends F-16s into Tripoli, the capital, and they blow up Gaddafi's house. And Reagan addresses the nation, telling them what he just did. Now, Gaddafi was not home, but it was thought that his youngest daughter was home and that we killed her. That's what the Libyans said to make Reagan look bad. We found out many years later, she was alive and well. She was not in the house. Okay? That was because of this Pan Am flight. Okay? Now, this is where we start to see Al-Qaeda. We get to the 1990s. Remember, we become an enemy, okay, of Al-Qaeda. Okay? So bin Laden was behind the Black Down disaster in 1993, triggered the United States withdrawal from Somalia. Why were we in Somalia? In the early 90s, President Bush, the first one, sent in as a humanitarian mission to feed the people of Somalia. There was a famine, and all the food was going to these warlords. It was a failed state, Somalia. The capital's Mogadishu, or short, the Moog. Okay, this is one of the best movies you'll ever watch, is Black Hawk Down. It's heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, it's war, but it's truth. It's based on a true story where 18 Americans are going to be killed. See, the mission was humanitarian. Clinton came into office, and he saw an opportunity to go after one of these really bad warlords. So they sent some of our guys into the Moog, into Mogadishu, and helicopters protecting them from above. They were shot down. So they send in more people to go to the helicopter. Those guys get trapped in the city, surrounded by AK-47s on every street corner. And they will go through the night until the next day when they send in reinforcements to get them out. Not before 18 Americans are dead. These guys are paraded in front of the cameras, stripped of their clothes, hung from bridges. What did we do? We left. Okay. Not long after that, February 1933, a bomb in a van explodes the underground parking garage of New York's World Trade Center. How many of you guys knew that this was the second time the World Trade Center was attacked? 9/11, 2001, but in 1993, they tried to blow it up from underground. We caught the guy that was the mastermind, the blind sheik. He still sits in a prison in New York. (1995) car bomb destroys the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. That's domestic terrorism. 93, a car bomb, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, kills 7, 5 of them Americans, military, civilian advisors. Tigers of the Gulf, Islamist movement for change, fighting advocates, God claim responsibility. A bomb aboard a fuel truck explodes out to U.S. Air Force installation in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia. 19 American personnel killed, including 240 Americans wounded. Guys, there's a movie about this. It's called The Kingdom. You guys know Jamie Foxx? Black actor Jamie Foxx? He's great, right? He was in like Olympus Down or White House Down or one of those. Dude, The Kingdom. Incredible movie. It's about this. And the FBI going in and trying to find out who killed all these people. Okay? They had a first bomb go off, and then they had all the people come in to help. I mean, this like shredded the side of a massive building. And then in one of the ambulances, there's another bomb. So they let all the people come in and try and help these people that have been hit by the first bomb. And then the second bomb, which is in an ambulance, goes off, killing everybody else that's around. Okay. This is sick stuff. This was the Olympic Games, pipe bomb. You guys see that movie? Richard Jewell. It was recent. Just came out like 2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, that was horrible what they did to that guy. Okay. Rocket propelled grenades, 98. Okay. This is 98. Okay. Our embassy in Kenya, in Nairobi, or in Tanzania, Kenya and Tanzania, are simultaneously blown up. Okay. There's bombs. 12 Americans here. Okay. 6 here. 10 wounded in this one. We pulled out. 2000, USS Destroyer in the port of Yemen, which is right underneath Saudi Arabia. It's in port. One of those rubber dinghy boats with a motor on it comes scooting up to the USS. This is Destroyer, big ship. Blows up a hole the size of this room in the USS Cole, killing 17 American sailors, injuring 39. What did we do? We left. Okay. Now, we knew. Now, we didn't know at the time, Black Hawk Down, when that happened, we didn't know that bin Laden was behind it, but he was. Bin Laden was behind a lot of these in the late 90s and 2000. And then you go to September 11th. Okay, from September 11th, guys, we're going to Afghanistan. So I did the Gulf War 1990-91. This war will start in 2001, and then we get the Iraq War 2003. So I got to get through that, and then we get what's called the Arab Spring, and then ISIS, to where we are today. That's I'm going to take you through tomorrow. Now that'll be on video. Welcome to come in live, like Emma. I hope you enjoyed today. Okay, and we'll do that, and then I'll do a little review of World War I. I'll put the notes up for the first module, okay. And we'll start in on 1919 and go through the 20s. Yeah.
So the guy that you said did a lot of these was the guy who had the camp.
Yep, bin Laden. Yeah. Yep. And see, I mean, your generation is just, it's kind of, you're removed from it. Okay? My son that's like 3 years older than you, he remembers Saddam Hussein when we captured him. Okay, he remembers bin Laden pretty well. It's just you guys are a little bit of separated there, age-wise. And so I feel it's important you know this stuff. I know some of it probably did this, but hopefully you were able to stay. Okay. So when do I see you again? Oh, sweet. See you Friday.